Hi there, my name is Alan Fine from LinkedInLeads.ca, and I'm here with John Mayu, who is a business or sales consultant for 2020 Show Productions. I met John through another contact, and he's using my LinkedIn leads generation system for filling up the Canadian Concrete Expo coming up in Toronto, Ontario in February 2018. Hey John, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you, Alan. How are you today?
I'm doing great, buddy. Well, thank you for being here. So I have a couple of questions to ask you in regards to what you're doing and the absolutely amazing success you have spoken about over the last few weeks with me with the LinkedIn leads generation system. So prior to using this new system that I introduced you to, what were you guys doing for lead generation and how was it going beforehand?
It was a difficult process. We mainly use obviously the internet, Google search, telephone search, but trying to get to the correct person is difficult. They're well padded in the industry, so it was difficult to get to them. So we weren't having a tremendous amount of success.
Yes, it's always a challenge getting through the gatekeepers, as well as I find it's always a challenge getting to the right person. If you do a cold call or an email to them and they have no idea who you are, usually they won't answer your phone call or get back to you. When we started the program, we set certain goals for your lead generation campaign. Can you just go over that again with me?
Yeah, in my current database in LinkedIn, I was a minimal user prior to meeting yourself, Alan. I dabbled with it, wasn't sure the ins and outs of the power of it. And I had about 2,800, 2,900 leads, not involved necessarily in the concrete industry. They were scattered all out throughout work. And with you refining the ability to search the people that I needed to get in contact with, I've increased that in about a 5-week period to well over 6,000 contacts, 3,000 of them being directly related to the show industry.
That's fantastic. When I first met you, and I met your boss, Stuart, and you heard about my system, what were your initial thoughts? Did you think that the campaign was going to work for you?
I was skeptical, absolutely. Social media, what's it going to do for you? What was going to be my return? How many people are actually going to respond instead of just the typical thank you that you get from LinkedIn as a thank you, but actually refining the invitation so that when the person seen my invitation to them, they had an idea of what I was looking for, what I was after, and the communication that was required.
Right, exactly. And I find that's always the challenge also itself. So you've had some amazing success so far using the system, especially recently. Can you tell me exactly what happened, who you contacted, how you contacted them, what was said, and who you landed as far as contacts and leads?
Absolutely. As you stated, we're producing it's called the Canadian National Concrete Construction Expo, and it's been very difficult to get to the appropriate people, and again, trying vigorously for a number of months, trying to reach companies like BASF, Lafarge Canada, Lehigh Hansen has been somewhat difficult. And when I first started with your program, I kind of did a general search and a general invitation to a number of companies. But as I went along, what I found was I refined that, and I specifically invited people directly with that company in specific areas. I didn't try to do, we'll say, all of North America. I specifically did Canada or perhaps a bordering state to Ontario. And what that did is it really refined the search and concentrated the invite and got me to the people that were required. And what happened in that is I finally got the attention of, per se, the president of the companies. When the chatter and the communication in the field with the people that I had communicated with through LinkedIn, whether they were a sales staff member out in the field or whether they were the janitor sweeping the floors in the building, they knew of what was going on with this Canadian National Concrete Expo. And through that, the communication amongst that company forced, I would say, the president of the company to take a look at what we were doing. And in and through that, I started receiving information from the presidents of these companies, and then it turned into a phone conversation. And in the end, they became part of our show. And quite frankly, as a joking matter, they asked my boss, Stuart Galloway, to please call off the dogs. John's done enough. I had.
Yeah, you told me about that. You said the
so,
people, the presidents, were a little bit peeved as far as how many people you had connected to and contacted to, and then in turn they were telling him, hey, listen, this guy's talking about this Canadian concrete exposition happening in Toronto. I think you should probably contact this guy. But it worked in your favor, though, right? It absolutely created the results you're looking for. And actually, I remember you said something to me that you were talking to the president of the companies and how you were telling them that you were not apologizing for what you did. Can you exactly delve into that part? Because that's really a great piece of when you are necessarily contacting people on the internet or social media, and especially on my LinkedIn lead generation system, and you do contact a lot of people and they get back to you, you turn that kind of well, I'm pissed off for contacting you this way, or you're being so aggressive, you turn that into a positive. So how do you spin that for them?
Absolutely. In fact, when they originally started to contact my boss, there was some frustration on their part because they were being, in another sense, hounded by so many people from the company. And when there was communication, the conversation did start out a little bit, there was some anger, but we turned that around. And then basically in the end, my boss turned to these companies and said, you would love to have the tools and John at your service. He's relentless. And that's the thing. When you go to war, you want to make sure you have all the appropriate tools. And this particular tool through the LinkedIn messaging system has been fantastic for that. So we turned that around, and basically we joke about it now, and it served its purpose. And I basically said, well, I did my job now, didn't I? Because I'm speaking to the president of the company. So obviously the system has worked.
Yeah. And you close some. These are big. These are not small. Like one buying one booth space. You close some big contracts here.
Absolutely, Lafarge Canada. I try to represent that to the hockey world. I'm a big hockey fanatic, and when you mention the name Wayne Gretzky, people understand that he's the greatest player that's probably ever played the game. And I would believe that in the concrete world, when you mention the name Lafarge, that carries the same weight. And for them to have a platinum sponsorship with a very large show demonstration, some new technology they're coming out with, they're excited. They toured our building where we're going to be performing the expo, and they're just ecstatic.
And where is that exactly? Where is the building? Where is it?
It's called the International Center in Toronto, Ontario.
And the date it's happening, actually, so people can know to come there?
February 7th and 8th of 2018.
Perfect.
And we're excited about what we put together for the Canadian market in the world of concrete and construction industry.
But I imagine people from the U.S. will be coming also in some way. I'm sure there'll be some overlap or overspill from people, companies right across the border from Canada, right?
Absolutely. With the generation process of the leads, I didn't isolate them just to Canada. There are some higher companies like the name of Lehigh Hansen. Lehigh Hansen is very similar to Lafarge Canada, very big player in the concrete industry in the United States. And we also have had the opportunity to have Lehigh Hansen as a platinum sponsor. Wow. And very behind us on this show. So again, through this process allowed me to get to the people that I needed to get to.
Well, that's fantastic, John. Well, I want to thank you. I know your time is brief today. You have things to do. So I want to really thank you for coming in today and sharing your strategy as well as your thoughts. And I look forward to hearing about the show in February 2018. Once again, this is John Mayu from 2020 Show Productions and Alan Fine from LinkedInLeads.ca signing off. Have a great day, John.
Thank you very much, my friend Alan. Thank you for all your assistance.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.